baby, I'm trying to get away. Trying to lock in the guap, trying to block all the pain. I'm a blind little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been tired. I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the box, but I'm copping the pain. We off to the stars of a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy. The mission is steady. Your bitches are jelly. I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies. I'm itching to ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know it's a boss. I got richer than Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti. Yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like the Rand do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, now taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in a great estate.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Sunday, and it's the pregame show. And Maddie, this is the first time I've questioned why we do this show. And for the first time in my life, I feel the NFL was truly rigged.
Yeah, you feel like NFL's truly rigged. We may as well just be doing a WWE.
I honestly, for the first time in my life, feel like there was a game rigged right in front of my eyes.
Yeah, should we just jump straight into that one, Jay? So Thursday Night Football, the Rams played the Vikings. Jay, how much did the refs affect the game in that one?
Just because I hate when people go more than 100%, because there's no such thing, 100%.
Yeah, I think
it's not even the missed face mask. That's the problem. It's all. So if you go read Jordan Schultz, he does a good thing or a good piece on this where it was at least 8 misholding calls on the Rams, but it was every big third down stop the Vikings got, the refs threw a flag.
Yeah, I think like when I was looking at the game and I was watching it, and I've rewatched it this morning, just in preparation for the show, as I tend to do. The face mask was so obvious. Like it was so obvious. It was obvious live when I was watching it the first time. It was just ridiculously obvious. And I don't understand why it's not reviewable if it's a scoring play. I didn't get that.
Well, and then I keep hearing these jackasses on that are like, it's a foul. It's not a penalty. You can't review a foul. Really? Because 12 men on the field's the same fucking thing, and you can review that. Like,
yeah, exactly. I don't get it. I don't get why the NFL cut so many lines about what you're allowed to review and what you're not allowed to review. Like, just review it. Like, you know, just review it all. Just terrible. Just review it all as you go through. You know, like it's easily reviewable. The stuff that is getting reviewed now is super fast. I understand if it's a pace of game problem, but the stuff that is reviewed now that they do it just straight from the booth in New York, like that is going really well. I think that's a really, really good step forward. So I would just make all plays like that reviewable.
And how many times,
especially when you see that?
How many times last year did we watch a game and we know they were in their ear on a play that wasn't reviewable?
Yeah, exactly. There's so often this is what really pisses me off. So plays that aren't reviewable, plays that aren't reviewable and all of that kind of stuff. But then there's a timeout or there's a break in the play or something like that, and it goes up on the jumbotron, and all of a sudden the flags are out and they've seen it. You know, like that all of a sudden happens, and it's like, well, that shouldn't happen then. Like if they're gonna not be reviewable, then make them not reviewable. But like, you know, it feels like if there was a timeout straight after that face mask, I think they might have got away with it. But obviously it was 4th down. Like you can't call timeouts. Well, you can call timeouts, but there was a change of possession and all of that kind of stuff. And Jay, I agreed with you through the game. I think there was a lot of ticky-tack fouls that didn't need to be called. And I think on any other game, we would be looking at that and saying, okay, like things have got like I feel like there's a lot of wrong calls, a lot of ticky-tack fouls here. But then when you add in that just completely obvious face, I didn't see it. It's right in front of your face. Like it is 4 yards away from you. If you didn't see that, then you shouldn't be watching the NFL.
Well, and then why did the ticky-tack calls only go one way?
Yeah, exactly. They
and according to that article I was reading, a minimum of 14 points are accredited to the refs.
Yeah, I think that was correct. Yeah, I thought they were particularly bad in that game, and I think that the NFL should be looking into that reffing team.
I think that crew should be fucking suspended for the rest of the year. They have extra crews And
Yeah,
as of Monday, as of Friday, they should have got up, suspended everybody, said this was blatantly wrong, and changed every way they ref. But it's this lawsuit that's supposedly coming that's going to change the NFL for the better.
Yeah, go on, Jay. You tell us a bit more about the lawsuit.
So
then,
I don't know
I've
a ton. I just read a quick thing yesterday on Instagram. I don't remember. It was Instagram or Twitter. But it looks like there's a bunch of gamblers, not Vikings fans, because I don't want people thinking this is just scorn fan shit. There's a bunch of gamblers who are looking to get a class action lawsuit because 80% of the money was on Minnesota, and they believe they got cheated out of the money. This is the type of case that's going to get Congress up into the NFL's ass if they don't stop. And the Congress, and they don't want Congress because the NFL breaks all kinds of antitrust laws. Like, if they really got challenged on it, the draft is illegal.
Yeah, the draft is possibly the most socialist
but
thing
it
I've
is
ever
illegal. It keeps an individual from competing with other businesses to make the most amount of money, because they say the NFL is one business, but it's not. It's 32 individual, and they get away with it. So if people start suing and they start looking like they're scamming fucking gamblers now that gambling's legal, and I know that Florio's been banging the table on this for 3 years about they're going to get sued if they don't get their shit together. I think it's the only thing that might get them to actually like hold the refs accountable.
Yeah, I think with the refereeing, I don't feel sorry for the refs. Like, they've made their mistakes, but I get it, and I think the refs are put in a position to fail. I think when I look at it, with all the technology that's in the NFL,
that's it,
and everything that they've got, I think the refs are just put in a position to fail. Like, it's a game, it's a chaotic game. Like, American football is fucking chaos. Like, it's car crashes everywhere. You don't really know where to look. The defenses get to study film day in, day out, all the way up to the game, and the offensive coordinators are trying to fool them. How do you expect a ref to have their eyes on all of that the whole time? And the technology is there to assist them, and they're just not being assisted. So I do feel sorry for the refs. I don't think it is the refs' fault. Like, I think the refs have made the mistakes, and I think with that one in particular, the face mask was horrendous.
Well, yeah,
I think they're put in a position
to fail. Yeah, absolutely.
Fail. Yeah,
there's too much technology. You and I have talked about, you have chips in the football, but you don't use them.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. I think there are a few pet peeves I have, but my biggest reffing pet peeve, Jay, is the spot. Like, why is the spot for the ball manual? I don't understand that. Something that I'll
realize they still use chain links, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever had an old dog leash that's chain links? It kinks. It never lays straight. How do you know that that's 100% like when a first down can come down to this much? Yeah. How do you know that chain link isn't like? How do you know the guy holding
sensors on the ball?
Yeah, and how do you know the guy holding the motherfucker didn't pull it a little too far back, put it a little too far forward? Not saying it's cheating, but like, to be fair, so like the sensors, how they call a touchdown in a big pile, like the Eagles tush push, right? How do you know sometimes last year that he crossed the line without 15 camera angles? Well, the chip in the ball. That's how you know.
Yeah. So I think that the way you do it, right? And I think European football is learning this. Rugby's learning this. Cricket already learned it like a long time ago. Baseball is starting to go into it with a bit more of the tech now, right? You either use all of the tech available, use it all available, or you don't use any. And if you don't use any, then we say, okay, the refs are going to miss calls, but hopefully that evens out throughout the year. Like, hopefully that evens out, and that's just the game that we play, and it adds to all the fun chaos. But if you're using some of the tech, just use it all. Just use all of the tech available to you.
So another thing that was interesting in what I read is, so y'all remember that the Rams won the Super Bowl, right? Does everybody remember how the Rams got to the Super Bowl against the Saints?
I believe.
Remember they blew that was never called. Remember, he blew him up, and it was never called. It's a little weird. I don't know. Just saying. But they got to do something with the technology. You just use it, get it right, and then this wouldn't be as big of a problem. and you're probably still going to always have mistakes because to be human is to error. But
yeah,
I don't know. That was the most blatant fuck shit I'd ever seen.
The thing that surprises me in them not using as many reviews is the reviews is ad time. That is ad space. Like the broadcasters can get more money on charging ads during the review. That's fine.
If you quit letting the refs review, why do the refs review anything at all anymore? Why isn't it automatically New York?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you protect your refs too, because no matter what the call is, they're like New York. Blame
and if you're doing it in New York as well, if you're doing it in New York, then you have the same people that are reviewing pretty much every single game, right? So the call comes down to the same person, so then you get more consistency as you go through, and it doesn't then get blamed on like the reffing teams. I just think the refs are set up to fail in this.
I agree.
They made a big fucking mistake. Don't get me wrong.
I think somebody bet on the Rams, but we don't have to.
I think the NFL needs to look into that one. But Jay, how dangerous did the Rams actually look, though, with their weapons? I thought, yes, there was a lot of help from the referees, but I thought the Rams actually looked good. This is the first time that they've had Stafford, Kyren Williams, Puka, and Cooper Kupp this season all on the same field.
If you take the article and you take 14 points off the board, did they look good?
I think they looked pretty good. They're also 17-3. They're 17-3 when they play with those four players all on the same field.
Oh, the refs, the four refs?
No, the two wide receivers in there.
Oh, I'm not sure the Rams honestly won a game yet. Now.
Oh no, I think that no. I think the Rams
in the history of McVay, I'm not sure they honestly won a game now.
Yeah, I think the Rams are good. I think that Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the league. I think that
I don't know anymore. I don't know.
Jay,
they helped them win a Super Bowl, and then they helped them not lose their season. I don't know.
Yeah, and Jay, where are the Vikings right now? Because actually, by the end of today, the Vikings could be at the bottom of the NFC North after being undefeated.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you recover from this. I think this is going to linger in Minnesota. I think it's going to be a problem. Yeah, I think so many people are pissed off that it may be a lingering problem.
Yeah, Christian Darrisaw out till the end of the season as well, which is a big loss.
That's a rough one. Yeah, that's a rough one.
That's a rough loss as well. So yeah, I personally think that the Vikings have a good enough coaching staff to pick themselves back up from this and go again. And I think they have a good enough roster. I think the biggest miss is Christian Darrisaw. And yeah, they could be bottom of the NFC North by the end of today. But genuinely, at the moment, looks like the entire NFC North might be going through to the playoffs with all four teams. That's kind of how it looks at the moment, just with how good that they look. So yeah, I think I thought the Rams looked pretty dangerous, but I think the refereeing decisions have just spoiled what would have been a great way to analyze two football teams here.
Do you know how many times, though, after reading that article, it's funny, too, because how many times I yelled at the fucking TV, are you going to fucking call a hold today? Like, I literally was screaming that at the TV. Yeah. Like, Harrison Smith literally got tackled on a blitz.
Yeah, it was pretty. They were letting them play.
No, they were letting the Rams play.
They were letting the Rams play.
Because the Vikings got called on some bullshit, too.
Yeah.
Like, Stephon Gilmore got called on the worst pass interference.
Mm. The worst pass interference when you're letting the other team play rough. Like when you're letting the other team play rough, but I get it's so crazy. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, Jay, we'll put that behind us because it's really difficult to analyze anything about that game with the way that the refs made it look.
Yeah, and I'm a salty bitch right now too. So yeah.
But let's
I've always told you the losing sucks, but feeling that something got stolen was like the worst. Yeah. Like fuck.
I'm not sure whether Sam Darnold would have gone down the field and tied it up for overtime at that point, but it still just ruins
me neither. But you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Look at the catch that fucking Jones made on the sideline. He that dude can catch too. There's a lot of weapons.
There's a huge chance. There was a huge chance that they were going to go down and do it, but we'll never know now because of that pull call. And that pull call would have taken them to the 15-yard line first down as well. 20, is it?
Yeah, because they started on the 5. So 15 yards.
Okay. Before they won the 2.
Now you're talking 80 yards in a minute and 45 seconds isn't ridiculous in the NFL.
No, not ridiculous. Not ridiculous at all, especially with that receiving core. So
you just, if worst comes to worst, you just toss a 40-yarder up to Justin Jefferson and hope
I know that's
he hits it. Like,
yeah, Justin Jefferson's catch on the sideline where it comes out at the one hand and then he ends up grabbing it.
Is he not fucking something? Like, there's guys in the NFL that make me, and not just him, but there's guys where I'm like, how the fuck did you do
what is that about? What is that about? Yeah. But Jay, moving on to this Sunday now, segment 2. It is Sunday, it is week 8. We're like kind of halfway through the season, but there's 17 games now, so I guess that we're not halfway through the season. Anyway, there's no buys in this week either. So for some reason, the NFL have started doing this thing where there's just a couple of weeks in the middle where there's currently no buys. So moving on to Sunday, week 8, we'll start in Detroit, where the Detroit Lions are 12-point favorites against the Tennessee Titans. Jay, is this a disappointing season for the Titans?
I thought they were going to suck balls, but it has to be. I didn't think they'd be that good this year. So, but it has to be disappointing anytime you thought, and maybe they think differently, but you thought maybe last year you have the quarterback for the future. And I think they kind of know now they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the Titans, they look like they were trying to actually put stuff into this year because they signed Tony Pollard. They
should trade him.
Yeah, they should trade him now, I think. Back to the Cowboys if they want to. But Snead as well. Obviously, D-Hop was there. They picked up someone else. Is Calvin Ridley a Titan now as well?
I forgot. I was going to ask you a question quick, and it's off your Cowboys, but I'll forget. And now, I don't know if you heard this, but I guess Rex Ryan reached out this offseason to the Cowboys about their defensive coordinator job.
Right.
Do you think they should have went with Rex Ryan instead of Mike Zimmer?
I don't know. Rex Ryan's been out of the league a lot. Like, basically, you're taking someone who we don't know if his defense is outdated to someone that we do know his defense is outdated. So Mike Zimmer's defense looks outdated.
It's the guy who has a Super Bowl and 2 AFC championships or appearances off that defense. But
and he's been watching a lot of football as well. Like, he's been commentating. It's not like he's been out of the football world. So
Rob Ryan's his twin brother, and Buddy Ryan was his dad. So
I think Mike Zimmer might be the mistake. So then, yeah, sure. Like, I guess if I know that we've got someone who's a mistake, then I'll take someone who I don't know yet if they're a mistake. But
and then, quick before we move on, is it crazy to you that nobody's ever reached out to Rex Ryan in the last 8 years?
I wonder what that's about. Maybe he
said there's been some defensive coordinator jobs on bad teams, but he said he's not going to take that if he's trying to get back to head coaching. So he thought,
that's why I was just
about coordinator with that massive talent, and this is his words, that massive talent in Dallas, then people can see, hey, Rex can still coach and get a head coaching job.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say maybe head coaches don't want Rex Ryan as their defensive coordinator because they worried that he'll take on too much. You know, like, he's a big personality, he clearly wants to be a head coach, was a good head coach as well. So maybe you don't want that feeling undermined in the building.
Yeah, because if you're McCarthy, you're not worried about Zimmer taking.
You're not worried about Zimmer. You were more worried about Dan Quinn last year than you were about Zimmer, right? But just to finish off on the Titans then here. So Will Levis is listed as questionable. Have we maybe seen his last game in Tennessee?
I don't think so, just because even if you draft a guy, who are you starting?
Yeah, exactly. I think Will Levis shows enough talent to actually be worth working on if you're terrible, because actually when you're in the position that the Titans are in right now, it is just better to lose and get higher draft picks. So then at least you can evaluate through the whole season. You can actually see where he is, and he does have enough talent. It's just he makes stupid decisions. So if you can coach that out of him, then like maybe and Jay, how good is this Lions offense? They're 12-point favorites, a team in the NFL right now.
That's kind of a crazy fucking, and it's a good Rex Ryan's son is the assistant wide receivers coach for the Lions, so they're brought it all back full circle.
There you go. Perfect.
Ben Johnson is great.
Yeah,
I said that they win despite bad coaching from Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, I think, is brilliant, and I think Jared Goff is having an amazing season again. I think my dad came and said to me actually last week, he was like, has there ever been a trade in NFL history that's gone so well for both teams? Like as the Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford trade, because usually there's a winner and a loser. Well, the Rams have won a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff looked like they couldn't get them over the line. And the Lions are relevant for the first time in 40 years. So with Jared Goff there.
Do people still feel that way if he doesn't take them to the promised land?
Yeah, I wonder. I'll
still give him the credit and you, because we're not always prisoner of the moment, but
yeah, we'll still be like, yeah, Jared Goff will be fine, and we'll blame it on Dan Campbell, probably is where we'll end up going with it. Yeah. So Jay, the Lions are minus 12-point favorites. Who have you got?
Everything in my head says that, or everything in me says to fucking take the Titans, but my head keeps telling me like the Lions are just going to blow them out. Give me the Lions. I fucking can't believe I said that.
I was wrestling with the same thing as well. I've taken the Lions as well, and I normally bet against these. There is so my mate was trying to ask me for tips this week, and I said there are no good games to bet on this week. There are so few good games for betting throughout this week because the point spreads and just some of them are huge. But yeah, the Lions are minus 12. I'll take that because I know they're that much better than the Titans. And the Titans are prone to mistakes on both sides of the ball. But I think the Titans defense is also good enough to stop them at least a couple of times, which is all you need when it's minus 12, right? But yeah, that's a difficult one. Jay, we're also a big point spread here in Cleveland, where the Cleveland Browns are playing against the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are 8.5-point favorites. Jay, are Cleveland better without Deshaun Watson?
This is such a lame answer. We're about to find out.
I don't
know. Like, we're about to find out. And are they playing Jameis? Because
yeah,
why aren't you playing DTR?
I think DTR has looked pretty bad, since he's been in the league.
Okay, so you play DTR. You either have something or you have a really high draft pick to walk away from Deshaun Watson. That's my thought on it. And then you don't have to say we're tanking. You just say we need to see what this young kid can do. And we're going to give him 8 games or whatever it is to go figure out what he can do.
Yeah, from what I've seen so far of DTR, I don't think they are better with DTR than Deshaun Watson.
That's kind of the disguise to tank the season.
Yeah, right. With Jameis Winston, I know they're better. I know they are better. I know that at this moment in time, Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson, just from the fourth quarter that we watched last week.
I don't disagree with that. My hesitation is that team so beat down emotionally from the stupid roller coaster of Deshaun Watson that they're like, fuck it.
There are so many teams. As I was going through, there are quite a few teams that I'm like, do you know what? Your team isn't actually that bad. You could just do with tanking. You could do with finding a way to lose with a decent team still, because the Browns defense should, in theory, still be good. If you look at the talent on that side of the ball as well, the offensive line is okay. If you look at the talent on that side of the ball, they're just in cap hell with Deshaun Watson. And how do you fix that? Oh yeah, if I get a really high draft pick in the first round, I can get a high rookie, a QB on a rookie contract. At least, at least we can do that. And if we screw that, then we screw that. We're still fucked anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Jay, what is the Browns' pathway to getting a win in this game? Can you see a way for them to get a win here?
You got to keep Lamar off the field. So you run the ball and hope Jameis doesn't throw any of Jameis's famous Jameis interceptions that he has.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough to get that win with. I don't know. Maybe they have a better shot without Deshaun, because I was just thinking I didn't think they could win either way.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, Nick Chubb's back, so I suppose you could just run the ball with Chubb and maybe Chubb can have one of his best games. Maybe you can just have one of his best games, and it is a divisional game. You're right. And Jay, what are the Ravens' Super Bowl chances here? Do you think the Ravens are odds on to be in the Super Bowl? Where do you think they fall at the moment in their Super Bowl window?
I mean, granted, it all depends on how the playoffs fall, but I see the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm looking at it as well. The AFC, in terms of depth, looks relatively weak, but those two teams at the top look really, really good. And I think it'll be the Ravens versus the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game as we look at things at the moment as well. Maybe the Bills have something to say about that going forward. But
maybe the Texans, you never know how that plays out by the playoffs, but I'm with you.
Yeah, right. The Ravens are 8.5-point favorites. Who have you got in this one?
Give me the Ravens, even though I could see this being a closer game because it's divisional.
Yeah, I don't love that either, but I've got the Ravens winning by 8.5 as well, but I don't particularly like that one. Jay, the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites in this game.
How is it not bigger?
Yeah, I don't understand how this isn't bigger. This is one of my locks of the week. So this is a lock of the week for me at 3.5. I wanted to see if Jordan Love was still injured or something like that when I saw this point spread. I didn't really get this one. I think the Jags have started to look better. And I heard someone, a pundit, talking about whether Trevor Lawrence is a bust because obviously he got his big money deal and things like that. What do you think on that?
No, I think there's 25 teams that would happily trade for him right now.
Yeah,
I think they have a bad culture, and I think Doug Peterson sealed his own fate when you're the guy who set the culture and you were talking about how you need to reset the culture.
So stupid. Such a crazy thing to do. But I think I definitely agree with you on that one. I think the Jags, I think Trevor Lawrence has actually looked really quite good in the past couple of weeks, and then the Jags are just poor in other areas.
He's so talented.
Yeah, he's like, it's going to be really difficult. And people say, oh, he's still living off his college legacy. He's still living off his high school legacy, stuff like that. And it's like, no, we've seen enough talent from him in the NFL to suggest that he can play quarterback in this league, surely. And it's also, I know this sounds ridiculous, but when you just look at him in the pocket, you're like, yeah, okay. Like that guy's a quarterback.
Is this one of those games where Christian Kirk goes off or where he doesn't be found or he can't be found because he's on the trade block? So does it fuck with him or does it make him better? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Christian Kirk being on the trade block, I was surprised by that from the Jags, to be honest. But there are quite a few teams that I'm like, yeah, if you could get a slot receiver at the standard of Christian Kirk, then that would be.
It's why I just hit him on my bench in fantasy in case he gets traded to like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Or like the Vikings with Christian Kirk would be pretty.
Or any good team though. That's why I hit him on my bench because I'm like, well, if he doesn't get traded in 2 weeks, I'll just dump him. And
yeah, exactly. Great call. See, this is what you have to do when you're in a 14-team league. Like you have to hide players who we don't even know what team they're going to be on next week. Yeah, I know, man. So we'll get to that when we get to the Cowboys. Yeah. But yeah,
that was just Jay, everybody, but you'll find out.
Jay, how good is the Green Bay Packers defense? Everybody's saying it's one of the best in the league. I don't necessarily agree with that. The way that I look at them, I think they're one of the more overrated teams in terms of their defense in the league. What do you think on that one?
I agree.
I think
the only good team they beat was a Texans team that played really bad.
A Texans team that fell apart as well. Like it was without their best receiver and those kind of things as well. So,
I still think they win by more than 3.5 though. So you can give me the Packers in this game, even though I fucking hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've got the Packers in this one as well. 3.5. That is one of my lock bets of the week. Jay, we just spoke about them, but the only good team that the Packers have beat is the Houston Texans. They're 5-point favorites against the Indianapolis Colts this week. Jay, how much of a miss is Nico Collins for the Texans after watching them for a few games without him?
I mean, you don't ever want to say nothing because he's a really good receiver, but they're still got receivers. So I don't think it's as big as other teams losing a top receiver.
Yeah, I think looking at it though, because I thought the same as you. When Nico Collins went down, I was like, okay, next man up. It's Stephon Diggs, it's Tank Dell, Schultz, Dalton Schultz, and then Joe Mixon.
And they played good the week before.
Yeah, and they played really well the week before. I think Nico Collins, I think it did become CJ Stroud's just his go-to guy. I think that's the one thing that they're missing. Like when you take away the go-to guy of your quarterback, then he's not as confident when he's throwing the ball. He's not as confident when he's stepping up. And in those big time plays, those third downs, those red zone plays, I think they have missed him a little bit, or they did miss him last week, but I'm sure they've been working on that connection with Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs, especially. Jay, can Anthony Richardson turn this around? He started his first game of the season. We were like, yep, okay, that's Anthony Richardson. He's arrived. He knows what he's doing. And then since then, he's not looked good, and he has been injured.
Yeah, I think like we've talked about a lot. I mean, he hasn't played a ton of football in his life. He needs to just get out there, get the experience. And he's one of those guys, I think, at least for the rest of this year, you're going to see spurts of brilliance and spurts of what the fuck.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that one. And I think he's behind what is now the Colts offensive line that it has been forever, apart from last year, right? So the Colts offensive line now is, again, one of the best in the league, one of the top 5. It is awesome again. And I think if the coach just said to him, look, stop being Superman, like just learn this game now. Like, we don't need you to win on every single play. We don't need you to do this. Like, stop, like, protect yourself. Make sure you don't get hurt. He could actually learn the game from the pocket a bit more and actually learn that kind of stuff because he's behind a really great offensive line. So I think if they have that conversation with him, and it's difficult to take like that out of a player where, you know, when he's actually on the field. But yeah, I think he could really do with just having some stable time behind that offensive line rather than trying to like break out the pocket the entire time and getting hurt and getting injured. And also someone needs to teach him to slide so badly. Jay, the Texans are -5-point favorites here. Who have you got?
That was my lock. I had the Texans.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, the Texans are 5-point favorites in that one. I've got the Texans in that one as well. We have agreed on every single game so far. Jay, this is a game where this is a game. Yeah, I know. It's always bad when we agree. This is a game that I think we might disagree on here because this is one of my locks, but I think it's quite a tenuous lock here. The New York Jets are 7-point favorites against the New England Patriots here. Jay, how can this Jets team get into a good flow? What does their offense need to look like in terms of when it's flowing, and what does their defense need to do to improve?
I told you their defense is what scares me more than the offense. They're way too talented to not be good, and they're not. They have not been good. They have not even been average. They've been below average, which is wild if you go up and down the line. How much does it mean to have Hassan Reddick? I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know what kind of shape he's in. Like, and you haven't played football, so you're not in football shape. Even if you're in the best shape, you're not in football shape. So yeah. I'm not sure. I do think that at some point the offense will get clicking. It's just, I don't know about their defense, and I don't doubt that the Jets will win. It's the -7, but I don't know. Give me the Jets -7 because I think they're going to win.
Yeah, I've got the Pats on. I've got the Pats on this one, and I've got them as my lock. Now, I don't think that the Pats are going to win, but I think there is an opportunity to win. And if I think there's a team that has an opportunity to win, and they're a 7-point dog, I'm going to take them as a 7-point dog there. If I think there's an opportunity to win, and how I think they actually can get that win is just run the ball down the Jets' throat and see how fit Hassan Reddick is. Just to start with Ramondre Stevenson. And then Drake May has got really good arm potential. Like, I don't think he's going to be amazing, but they look way better with him back there.
It's funny you say that, though, because I was thinking the complete opposite. Like, if you're the Jets, stuff the run and make Drake May beat you.
Yeah, definitely. If you're the Jets, you stuff the run. That's what you do. You make sure that they stop the run. But can this Jets defense stop the run? Well, Hassan Reddick is the guy that they've brought in to try and do that.
You just got to sell out on it and you got great corners. Let them man up some dudes and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do if I was the Jets, and it's what I would try and establish that run around the Patriots. And Ramondre Stevenson, Ramondre Stevenson is one of the weirdest fantasy picks ever. Like he's the reason that KT sometimes scores 180 points and then can't break 100 in other weeks because some reason Ramondre Stevenson has games where it's 150 yards passing and receiving and rushing, like 150 total yards with 2 touchdowns and all of that kind of stuff. And then other weeks he gets like 10 yards or something like that because they can't, because another team has just been able to stuff the run. So I think it all counts on Ramondre Stevenson on this game as well. And can Drake May limit the mistakes? I also think the Pats defense, some of their defensive players, especially in a divisional game against the Jets, are good enough to stop the Jets. And I think with the way that the Jets are at the moment, I think they'll revert straight back to just throw the whole time as soon as you stuff the run. And then from that point, they've not looked great.
If I'm Gerard Mayo, I come out throwing.
Just come out throwing straight away.
Because everybody's going to think if you stop the run and make Drake May beat you, and they're going to be in run defense, and then you can soften up that defense by coming out and throwing and open up the run off of that.
And Drake May has looked okay. I think Drake May has looked pretty decent, like since coming into the league. Like he's a step down from Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, and then I don't know where you put Bo Nix in that, but he's a step down from those guys. But he looks good, like he looks serviceable as a quarterback. So I've got the Pats in that one. Jay's got the Jets. We're now moving on to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are 2.5-point favorites against the Eagles. Jay, whose offense do you trust more? Like these two teams are two of the most up and down offenses in the league.
Neither. Plus, I don't know about Joe Burrow's wrist. That seems like a week-to-week thing. And he says it's not fully healed. And like we said, there's a ton of people saying that he's never going to get the same motion back. And it looks like he's had some problems with his wrist. And then on the other side, you got Saquon Barkley, you got A.J. Brown, you got Smith. But they haven't brought it all together.
Yeah, and I think with Jalen Hurts, also T. Higgins seems to be on the injury report for this game listed as questionable. We're getting up to the time now where we can actually see if they're playing or not, but T. Higgins has been listed as questionable as well. So I just think these are the two most up and down teams in the entire league. Like I have no idea on either of them. I don't really understand either of them as we're going forward. I think that Hurts may be the problem in Philadelphia at the moment. I think he's maybe one of the more overrated QBs. I think he signed a very lucrative deal, but it was relatively team friendly in the way that you can move money around, which is why
T. Higgins out with a quad.
T. Higgins out. There you go. So there's injuries everywhere. There's injuries to contend with as well. So yeah, I don't know whose offense is going to come out on top in this one, and both defenses are pretty weak as well. Can the Eagles' backfield hold on to the Bengals wide receivers? Well, it makes it a lot easier if T. Higgins is out.
Yes, and with that being said, give me those Eagles plus 2.5. I'm not even thinking they're going to win, but I think they could win. And we're going back to what you said. You're going to give me some points in a team I think could win. Let's just go that route.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually going to take the Bengals on this one because, if they're this close, I'm always going to bet against the Eagles because they just find it too hard.
Everybody knew
that. They just find it too hard to chip on them. Chase Brown is going up. Chase Brown, running back, is going up against his brother, Sidney Brown, safety, which could be potentially fun. The Eagles will be hoping that they never meet each other on the field, because if the running back is running at your safety, unless the safeties come downhill, you're in trouble. But yeah, Jay, we'll go to Tampa now, where the Bucs are playing against the Falcons. The Bucs are without Mike Evans for the next couple of weeks, and they're without Chris Godwin to the end of the season.
Forever.
Might be gone now. That might be it for Chris Godwin. But the Falcons are 2.5-point favorites in this one. Jay, how much do you think the line shifted because both of them are out? Do you think the line would shift this much if only one of them was out?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. But this is the kind of game that Kirk comes out and wins anyway. And so I was looking at this and I'm like, yeah, give me the Falcons because the Bucs are wounded. And I know Payne Gusto didn't like when I said this, but fire Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I think looking at
I'd have fired Todd Bowles after that game.
Yeah, looking at just the way that game ended and the way that the injuries happened and stuff like that, I can totally see why. And I think that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, we said in the last show, we said, look, wide receivers don't actually make a huge amount of difference in terms of winning compared to other positions. But when you're a good team, when you have the basics of a really good team and you're playing against other good teams, like the Falcons are good as well, then the wide receivers are the difference. They are then just the difference. And when you have two amazing ones who have a great connection with their QB.
And there's a difference between adding a receiver to try to make your team better or taking away from the equation. And
taking away both of your receivers as well.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs are just lucky that Mike Evans is only out for a couple of weeks as well. I think that might save their season. Jay, where do you think the Falcons are in terms of their? Because I've done my Brit Picks, I just don't really know where they are at the moment in the Falcons with their loss last week.
I mean, they're a team that's going to fight for the playoffs, but if they make it, they'll probably be one and done.
Yeah, that's where I think they are as well. But I think the hype around them is crazy. Like as we go through in this one, Jay, who have you got in this one? The Falcons are 2.5-point favorites.
Give me the Falcons minus the 2.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons in this one as well. I just think there's too many injuries to overcome there for the Bucs. Unfortunately for them, Jay, a crazy game here where we're going to really find out some answers. The Dolphins are 4-point favorites against the Cardinals. Jay, should Tua be playing, and how much of a difference does he make when he does come out and play?
He makes all the difference. We've watched that team without him, and it's like it's got people questioning, including myself, Mike Daniels.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's making me think otherworldly of Tua as well. It's making me go like this guy earned his money, definitely is getting paid the right amount because they're just a totally different team without him. And when they're with him, Jay, should he be playing? What do you think?
If he's going to play again, then absolutely they should put him out there. I just would have been on the side that he shouldn't. But again, there's so many guys in the NFL who have had more concussions than him that we don't talk about playing. So
they've maybe not been as bad as his. Although Josh Allen got knocked out a few weeks ago and just continued to play in that game. But
also, there was a new concussion study that came out, and the NFL football is the third leading cause of concussions in sports, right behind two of your favorite sports,
rugby
and soccer.
Soccer's a weird concussion one. Football, European football is such a strange concussion one because I guess it's like they're super mild, the concussions that you get in European football. The concussions that you get in that one are super mild. The concussions that you get in rugby and American football are just like knock the fuck out. But rugby's pretty bad. They have harsher protocols when someone gets concussed, but stopping people actually getting concussed is a real problem in the game of rugby. I think Tua should play as well. If he's come out and said he wants to play, he's a grown man, and it makes all the sense for the Dolphins to play him. I mean, the way that their division is actually shaping up in the AFC East, they have an opportunity to still go out there and win it. I think if they win today, then they're still only a game or two behind the Bills. I can't really remember right now. And also, Tyreek Hill seems to be flirting with the Chiefs again on Twitter. It's better for them to make sure that Tyreek is out there. Jay, where did the Cardinals find any consistency? Because they won a big game last week that loads of people thought they were going to lose, and then they lose games that people think they're going to win. Where do they find any consistency here?
Until they get a receiver that can take the top off, this is what we're going to see.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I do think that they're a team that is missing. I think a Christian Kirk actually would be a really good signing for them. I don't even necessarily think it needs to be someone who can take the top off. I think just someone who finds a bit of separation, I think, is good enough for me.
Yeah, but if you watch, those safeties are just coming down because they don't have any speedsters on that team.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe having a few Trey McBride go routes just up the seam, whilst dummying something else would help them out there, because Trey McBride, I think, is a good enough athlete. I don't know why they don't do more of that. Jay, the Dolphins are -4 point favorites on this one. Who have you got?
Give me
It's
the
difficult on
Dolphins
this one
minus
because we just
four,
don't
but
know.
it's the rustiness there in
Yeah.
what's going on. But give me the Dolphins -4.
Yeah, for me, I've got the Dolphins -4 as well. As you said, the Dolphins there, I nearly thought I'll change it to the Cards, but every time I've changed something on the spreadsheet during the show, I've got it wrong. So I'm just going to stick with it. The issue with this one is that we don't know what the Dolphins are going to look like at all, because we don't know how rusty Tua is. We don't know how much training he's been able to get into, and we don't know the lingering effects of a concussion like that he's had, to be honest. So yeah, we don't know what they're going to look like, but if they look like what they usually look like when Tua's there, they should win this game. Jay, the Seahawks are up against the Bills. The Bills are 3-point favorites. Jay, is Josh Allen playing the best football of his career right now?
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I've seen some really good football at times from Josh Allen. So Josh Allen's problem has never been talent or being able to play. It's hero ball. So
yeah, I think, looking at this with Josh Allen, I think he's playing his most winning football right now, because he's not throwing the ball away. He hasn't thrown the ball away in 7 straight games now. So that's pretty impressive from Josh Allen, considering he led the league in interceptions last year. And I think it's due to his wide receiver core, right? I think his wide receiver core, he's just gone, okay, I need to be less ambitious with what I do. I need to take this back, dial things back a little bit, because if I lose this ball, then I can't just keep on going for it without Stephon Diggs there. And I think Amari Cooper will make a big difference for him as well. And Jay, are the Seahawks actually favorite to win the NFC West at the moment with all the 49ers injuries and the Rams? We don't know how good they are with their injured players coming back, and then the Cardinals being really inconsistent.
I would still say no.
I would agree with you on that one.
I would take the Rams or San Francisco over them in a bet.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I would take the Rams in the NFC West, actually, as well. I think this has all the potential to be a really, really great game, though. Looking at this one, who have you got? The Bills are 3-point favorites.
Give me the Bills -3. I think that spread should be bigger.
Yeah, we both took that as a lock in our last show. So the Bills are -3. I was surprised that the spread wasn't a bit bigger as well. It's because the Seahawks just beat the Falcons 37-14, so they're not going to make the spread crazy. But the Bills have looked better all season long. And Jay, we're now moving on to LA, where the Chargers are 7-point favorites against the Saints. Jay, does the Chargers style of football suit this big of a point spread?
I'd say yes, because of the injuries to the Saints.
Yeah, I worry about this point spread because of the style of football that they play. They run the ball, and the game is just win.
Vegas is expecting a massive running game, because Dobbs is on my team and he's expected to have 18 points.
Yeah, they're expecting this is just getting handed off the entire game. I hope not, because Lad McConkey is having to play for me because of DK Metcalf's injury, and I don't know if I'm going to play D Hop or not. I'll make the decision before the game. I don't think I will. But yeah, Jay, is Dennis Allen now moving towards the hot seat here? Defensive coach. They were
talking about firing this dude the year after he got the job. So I definitely feel like but again, they're with a dysfunctional owner. Gail Benson does not know what she's doing, and it's obvious.
Yeah, I think we looked at the I don't know. I think we looked at the way that they were playing at the start of the season, and we were like, Dennis Allen's doing a great job. They're doing an amazing job. And now all of a sudden things are falling apart, and it's falling apart on his side of the ball as well, on the defensive side of the ball, where they don't have as many injuries as they do on the offensive side of the ball as well. So Jay, who have you got in this one? Chargers are 7-point favorites against the Saints.
Give me the Chargers -7.
I've got the Saints in this one just because I don't think that the Chargers play a style of football to lean towards a 7-point spread.
I think you're going to have to come in and give Harbaugh and the rest of the team a good apology.
I like Harbaugh. I think they'll win. I think
you're going to have to give JK and Harbaugh an apology after this week.
Yeah, we'll do. Okay, Jay, we're heading to Vegas now, where all these odds come from. The Vegas Raiders are playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites. How much of an upgrade is DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs' offense at the moment?
This week, I don't know if it'll be much at all, but in the long run, he's definitely going to be great for another weapon for Patrick Mahomes. A big target in the red zone, a guy who's got great hands. He's not as fast as he used to be, but that won't become the big issue. I don't know if he's much of an upgrade this week, but I don't think they need it.
Yeah, I think looking at this game, I think it's defense, run the ball, and then Patrick Mahomes can throw to the tight ends if he needs to, and I'm sure Xavier Worthy will have a trick play in there as well. How close do you think the Raiders are, though, Jay? Because they've come out and they said they're not trading Max Crosby. They've said we're not trading Max Crosby. That to me feels like a move where you feel like you're actually kind of close. Do you think they're just a quarterback away?
I think they're a quarterback, a corner, a wide receiver or two, an offensive lineman or two. I don't think they're close. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't. I don't think a quarterback comes in there and changes life for them at all.
Yeah, I don't think they're close at all either. So I was surprised that they're not trying to stack picks for a guy like Max Crosby and sell him at his height. But if you get offered 2 first-rounders for a defensive end at 28, I'm tempted to take that, I think, if I'm the Raiders, because then I can go and build my offensive line. I can go build the other parts, but you do need actually decent players on your team at some point. I think the Raiders are another one of those teams where it's actually in their best interest to lose pretty much every game as they're going forward in the season.
With that said, I think the Chiefs and the Raiders hate each other, and I think the Chiefs come out and beat the dog shit out of them. So give me the -9.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the -9.5 on this one as well. I just think the Chiefs are far too good for the Raiders here. And I think the biggest thing for me feeling kind of comfortable with that point spread is the Chiefs defense, in my opinion, is the best in the league in terms of actually going out and winning games. I think they're the best in the league at that point. They always stand up when they need to. So I don't think they'll actually need to score that many points to even win here. Jay, the Broncos are 11-point favorites against the Panthers. Same question as the Chargers. Where does that spread come from? Is their style?
They have a hard time scoring 11 points. Like, I'm not sure, like, how that fucking. I don't know. Like, how are you 11-point fucking?
So the way that I look at this is, I think that the Broncos defense is going to score at least a touchdown here. Like, I think the Broncos defense is going to cause a lot of trouble. I think they're also one of the best defenses in the league here. Watching them against the Saints last week made me think, oh my God, like they're going to score more points on the Saints offense than the Saints offense is going to score as they go through. So that's it for me, I guess, with the way that
only
the Panthers
because
look.
Bryce Young is playing though, right? Like if this was Andy Dalton, it'd be different.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
This is the weirdest game to bet.
Yeah, do you think that Bryce Young can keep a hold of his starting job here?
If he comes out and plays well, they'll play him again next week, and then you stack a couple good games. You don't even got to win. Just stack good games and good play on top of each other. Because if you're the Panthers, you have to want Bryce Young to succeed, right? You have to. So, I don't know. He got stuck with a bad fucking organization last year. And then this year we watched, he looked awful. But was he still shell-shocked from last year because he got beat the fuck out of? Then Andy Dalton comes in and looks good. And it's not that he looked better. It's like how much better he looked, right? Like, because Andy Dalton's got tons of experience. So you're not shocked if he comes out and plays a really good game. But it's how much better he made everybody on the team look than Bryce Young.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. I think the Panthers must want him to do well. I think this is a horrible game for him to have to come into with just the way that the Broncos defense is making some quarterbacks look. At the moment, Jay, who have you got? Broncos are 11-point favorites.
I fucking hate this game. I really hate this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it.
Give me the Panthers minus 11, even though I still think they're going to lose. That's a lot of fucking points.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that, so I've already put it in. I've taken the Broncos in that one. I'm feeling not so comfortable on it, but I just think their defense is going to have a game against Bryce Young.
I don't think you can feel comfortable no matter who you pick in that game.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot barge pole if it was me. Jay, now we move to the capital of Washington, D.C., where the Commanders are playing against the Chicago Bears. At my time of writing this, the Bears were -1, but I believe Jaden Daniels has come out and said he's playing. So let's just quickly have a look.
He says he wants to. They're still saying game time decision. I think the organization's playing fucking games, so the Bears don't know who to prepare for.
I think he's going to play, and Vegas seems to think he's going to play as well, because now the Commanders are -1 point favorites. So the Commanders are now the favorites in this game at -1. So who have you got on this one, Jay?
Well, which one are we going with?
Commanders -1.
I thought the Commanders were going to win anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think Jaden Daniels is expected to play from what I'm reading. Fantasy football seems to think he's playing as well.
I have him on the bench on one of my teams, but the only reason I put him on the bench is because he was a starter, but his backup was Lamar Jackson. So I'm like, I'm not even risking it this week.
Oh, you may as well.
Just start Lamar. That's what happens in a 10-team league. You can have 2 quarterbacks like that. In a 14-team league, you can't.
Well, I've got Tua, so I've got Jaden Daniels and Tua sitting. I've got Tua sitting on my bench. So I'm.
Yeah, I looked at him. I think I said this last week. I looked at him and was like, nah, you fucked me already. I just can't do it again.
Yeah, the game time decision is a worry for me on this game anyway. But Jay, who do you think will have the best NFL career? This is the first meeting between them in the NFL of Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
Oh, I think Jaden Daniels has proven that he's the best. I mean, I pounded the table since the middle of last college season, so maybe I'm a homer. You can tell me, but I think he's proven that he's the best out of these quarterbacks so far. And nothing that what me watching him plays thinks that that's going to regress moving forward in years.
Yeah, I think if it was Jaden Daniels at the old Commanders, the Commanders with Dan Schneider there, I'd be tempted to say,
yeah, that's different.
The Commanders will find a way to screw this up. Yeah, Commanders. Yeah, we
both kind of went Dan Quinn, but now it's like, oh, they picked the right fucking guy to change things there.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It makes sense the more I think about it now, because we're seeing it unfold. Is very steady, even keeled coach, like go out, do your job type thing. There's no rah-rah, there's no fucking, and like you said, no Dan Snyder fucking shit. And it's just go out, do your job. We're going to build something here. And they're looking good. They need a lot of help on defense, but they're looking good. I'm impressed with what I saw from the Commanders this year.
Yeah, obviously a previously really controversial team with their name, and there's always going to be news around that surrounding it. They're also in the capital of the country as well, which leads to its own stuff, especially with what's coming up very soon in terms of the election and those kind of things. So they're always going to be in the news cycle and things like that. So I think it's steady coaches really help them there. And also I think it's not like Chicago are this amazing franchise either. Like Chicago always find a way to.
And that wasn't a shot at Caleb, but I just think Jaden Daniels is better.
I think Jaden Daniels is better. I think Caleb is also impressed coming into this year. I think they're both like, yep, okay, cool. You were 1 and 2. That made sense. That made loads and loads of sense. God, without my glasses, I can't read.
You're the Geico Gecko.
The Geico Gecko. Wow.
Is he British?
Is he British? Well, Aussies just sound like us, but you know.
Maybe he is British. I just always assumed that Gecko, Australian. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
maybe. Jay, we're heading to San Francisco for Sunday Night Football.
Wait, did you take the Commanders?
I took the Commanders.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like to know while we're watching the games when we have different ones. Like if there's a little more competitive fire when you and I pick different ones.
I've got the spreadsheet. I'll send you the spreadsheet over again, Jay, so you can make sure as we're going through. But the San Francisco 49ers are playing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Jay, who is the most beset by injuries in this game? Who is the most off kill because of their injuries?
is both the wrong answer. Well, here's the thing. Brandon Ayuk's injury isn't as big of a deal as they're making it out because he really hasn't had a showing this year. And that's probably part of the reason the 49ers aren't as good as everybody expected too, is him and then CMC not being there is always, going to be an issue. And it's not just because of how good he runs, because Mason's running the ball well. It's everything else that he does and how the defenses have to account for Christian McCaffrey on every play. But Jennings and Pearsall, this is your chance. Step up and see what
Jennings
happens.
has actually looked pretty good. Jennings has actually looked pretty decent, throughout the year, I think, as we're going through. And just
everybody stick around. Maybe somebody on the 49ers might be your fantasy player to watch.
Yep. I think looking at this game as well, I think Micah Parsons has been ruled out now. Obviously, the Cowboys then missing their best player, most dynamic player that they can have. I think they're also missing D-Law as well. I think Bland is back for this game. I think Carson is also back for this game. Let me just look up the Cowboys injury report. Oh, shit. If no one's noticed, I'm running blind in this one because I lost my glasses on a night out.
How'd you lose your glasses, Maddie?
I was out. I was out partying in York, Jay, and I misplaced them.
I have an audio I could have played, but I won't do that to
you. me trying to convince Jay to let me trade with the Canadian.
No, I wasn't saying I was stopping it. I was saying that he's so ridiculous from here on out, there has to be a group vote.
No, I agree. I think me and Hitman were actually talking about that going forward. It's this is pretty crazy, that he's accepting this one. Sorry. Yeah, okay. So in this game, I think the Cowboys are the most beset by injuries. I think the 49ers just because I think the 49ers have a much deeper roster. I don't think that's anything it's a negative for the Cowboys. It's not an excuse for the Cowboys at all. They probably have more injuries, but they're just way deeper all the way through. Bland is out.
I'm taking the 49ers minus the 4.5, but I would not be shocked if the Cowboys figured out a way to win this game.
Yeah, I think I look at this game, and my biggest question is, can the Cowboys stop the run in this game?
The Cowboys win. If not, then the 49ers win is how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well. I think if the Cowboys can stop the run, if they can just keep it to 100 yards of rushing, then I think they might be okay here.
Did they elevate Delvin?
They did. They have elevated Dalvin Cook as far as I can see as well.
He better be the starting running back. And okay, starting, I don't care who gets the first snap. He better be the majority running back by the time this game is over.
Yeah, from what I've seen, they've elevated Dalvin Cook from the practice squad to the team, and I made a right fuck up in fantasy with that, trying to mess around. I was trying to clear some space for a couple of trades.
This is rhetorical. I don't expect you to have the answer, but why the fuck do you wait 8 weeks?
Oh, yeah, for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Why do you wait 8 weeks? I don't
get it. When you saw how bad it was. Why? I got it if they thought for the first couple of weeks, it's we'll see if Deuce Vaughn is our third running back, but Deuce Vaughn hasn't been the third. He doesn't look like it. He hasn't played enough snaps to be the third running back either.
No, he's a really good special teamer.
Yeah, so you could have at least tried Deuce Vaughn a little bit there as well, which they haven't really done either. So I don't know why you wait that long. I guess it's been the bye. They've been able to bring them in. Interesting stuff about the Cowboys. Obviously, Mike McCarthy is really good off a bye, like all good coaches are. However, no team so far this season has won their game after playing against the Lions the week before. So that's interesting. Does that count if there was a bye in there the week before? And Jay, will the 49ers pay Brock Purdy if they lose here? Because I think if they lose here, then I think their season's close to over. And how much are you paying Brock Purdy?
They're going to have to make him the highest paid, because if they don't, somebody else will. I mean, you can franchise him for 2 years or 3 years because you could force him, but then it's going to cause all kinds of problems. And if you want to get paid by the 49ers, just hold out. Debo, Brent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, just hold out. If you want to get paid by the 49ers, just hold out.
Yeah, so Jay, the 49ers are 4.5-point favorites in this one. Who have you got?
Give me the 49ers, but I wouldn't be shocked if I lose this one.
Yeah, I've taken the 49ers in this one as well. I don't think the Cowboys will stop the run in this game.
Is that kind of like my reverse psychology type shit? No. Okay.
No, I just think they're going to lose.
Fair enough.
I don't think this is going to be close. I reckon I'll be asleep.
They have so much talent. I just keep thinking, at what point does it click?
Well, it's injured. Like, we have so much talent, but all the talent is injured.
Yeah, but if you're bringing Bland back, and now you got Delvin Cook and
I think offensively we'll be all right. Oh, I also think Joey Bosa against Terrence Steele is just going to be Nick Bosa against Terrence Steele is just going to be a nightmare.
Jerry Jones should be calling the fucking Jags and be like, "I'll give you a fourth. Just send over Christian Kirk."
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I think it just changes a bit of the narrative around the building as well if they do stuff like that. If the Cowboys had had a semi-peaceful bye and had actually been able to think about football.
I forgot about that, but yeah.
Like, if they've been able to think about football and stuff like that the entire week, then fine, I would be more on board with the Cowboys there, because I don't think the 49ers are a good football team at the moment. I think that they've got, or not as good as everybody else thinks. I think they're about the 15th best team in the league and stuff like that. And I think if the Cowboys had just managed to have a decent bye, like just a quiet bye, then they would be fine, but they haven't. So they've just shot themselves in the foot again. Jay, Monday Night Football, we're in Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-point favorites against the New York Giants. Jay, is Russell Wilson making the Steelers a contender? Like, how far do they go there?
Yes, and I don't think they'll win this, but it makes them in the mix in the AFC a little bit because the AFC is weak. But they can move the ball now. They don't have to just rely on. And I hate to beat them up because, like, their running game hasn't been awful, but Najee is so slow. It is like, my gosh.
Najee is weirdly slow, but is also putting up easily 100 yards a game. So, like, he leaves a lot of yards out there is what's crazy about it. Because we advised someone that last week, we said, don't play Najee Harris, and Najee Harris went on and made like 20 points in.
Well, actually, what you said was, if you want guaranteed yards, take Najee Harris. If you want the big play, go the other way.
Chase Brown, yeah. That's okay. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough then. And I think Najee Harris does guarantee like you a certain amount of yards just because of the way that he runs. I think the Steelers defense is just really TJ Watt is ridiculous.
It took 8 weeks, but I found my sweetheart team for this year.
Steelers, is it?
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch them go forward with Russell Wilson. Plus, I'm always a sucker for a Badger. So I'm Wisconsin.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, it's better for the Giants to lose this game anyway, right?
Yeah, you got to move on from Daniel Jones at some point. Yeah. Like, you got to. But I don't know what it is, but those Badgers seem to tear up shit for the Steelers. I mean, you got TJ, you got Russell. I mean, like, I'm just saying.
just keep on picking Wisconsin players. Jay, the Steelers are 6-point favorites in this one. Who have you got?
Give me the Steelers because I think the Giants are that bad.
I'm taking the Steelers in this one as well. I think the Steelers have opened up some explosiveness in their offense, which will allow them to win games like this too. That's it. That's all of the games on Sunday covered. We have about 20 minutes till kickoff, so we'll go now into our segment 3, which is our fantasy players to watch. We're doing really well in this segment. I feel like a lot of the time we get these guys pretty right in terms of give them a watch, see what they're up to. I would play everybody in my list this week if I had them. Who have you got?
Starting with my first one, Jawan Jennings.
Nice, like it. That's a good pick, I think, because obviously is Ayuk out for the season now? Just done.
Yeah, he's done for the season.
Yeah, I think he'll be the standout player. And he had a really good fantasy week a few weeks ago as well. While I was playing out there, Jay, I've got the Broncos defense as one of mine. I think the Broncos defense might be in the realm of scoring like 20 points in this in their game against the Panthers here. Jay, who's your number 2?
Okay, my number 2 is based on somebody else, but it's Tyreek Hill, based on Tua coming back. I think Tyreek becomes what all fantasy teams were hoping for when they drafted him.
I've also got Tyreek Hill on like my short list as well when I was going through players, just because anybody who's drafted Tyreek Hill has probably drafted them in the top 5 of their draft. Like probably at least high in the first round of their draft as well. So I think Tyreek Hill's a big deal there. I've gone for another player who I think is because of their quarterback that they've moved to now. I think the second week of Amari Cooper in Buffalo, I think watch out for that there against the Seahawks. I think seeing where Amari Cooper is, I think is really important to a lot of people's NFL teams.
All right, and then my third one, who I've shit on a lot over the last 2 years. I was kind of stuck, and I was going back and forth, and I couldn't figure out which one of the two guys. I personally was thinking which one to take. I have some notes, but I guess I can't pull them up because my phone hates me. And I was going to give you some stats on why, but fuck it. It's Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is the guy to watch because I think that the Bucs are not going to be able to stay on the field. Kirk Cousins is going to be on the field a lot. And I almost went with Kirk Cousins, but there was some stats that I can't find, but it was how well Kyle Pitts does against the Bucs also.
Yeah, I think looking at Kyle Pitts as well. So he started off really slow again. First 2 weeks was horrendous. So he's only averaging 9.8 points a game at the moment. But his last 6 games, I think he's gone over 10 points every single time. So it's
better than Sam Laporta.
Well, that's kind of what you want from your tight end, right? Like if your tight end is regularly going over 10 points, then you're fine. Like
yeah, I'm getting like 3.5 from Laporta. So
yeah. I don't know what's going on with Laporta
I need TJ Hawkinson to start already, so I have a tight end.
Yeah, and the ball's just not going Laporta's way at all. Jay, my one's kind of simple, but this guy hasn't been putting up the fantasy numbers that he would normally be putting up, and I think this week he's going to go off, especially with the injury that we discussed earlier in the show. I think Jamar Chase, I think this is his week against that Eagles. Against the Eagles defensive backs who don't always play their best football.
That's rough though without Higgins.
I think that might even increase his targets even further, like as we go through. And I think Jamar Chase is always going to be double covered no matter who's on the field. So maybe he'll get triple covered this week. But that's our fantasy picks. Everybody, good luck in fantasy this week. Jay, to finish off, we're going to have a look at the Brit Picks, which is my power rankings for the NFL going into this week. Let me just share my screen. This is so hard when I'm blind.
So being that this is going into this week, did you take into account Thursday's game?
I do take into account Thursday's game.
I think you might have the Vikings too high, but I have a theory on the Vikings.
Yeah. Can you just remove that subscribe button there?
I am right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, mate. I'm just sorry.
My theory on the Vikings is if you think about it, they beat the 49ers. They beat the Texans. They beat the Packers. All Shanahan tree. They got Shanahan's number.
Yeah, they love playing against Shanahan, and maybe they struggle against McVay because they lose against the
refs. Yes.
Yeah. Is Ben Johnson not from the McVay tree, or am I making that up?
Oh, he might be. I don't know, but he's good. He's fucking good.
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson might be from the McVay tree as well. But I'll start at the top here. I think I've got the 2 best teams in the league, 1 and 2. They're also the 2 best teams in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens with that run game, I think, are just ridiculous. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs just go out and they win. And if the NFL is about winning football games, and that's what they do. They have one of the best defenses for winning and one of the best offenses, not in terms of scoring points, but in terms of doing just what you need to do to win. I think the Chiefs are there. The Vikings, I don't want to read too much into the Vikings loss on Thursday night. I think the loss against the Lions was also just close and like really unlucky. Some people are saying that Sam Darnold's turning back into a pumpkin. I disagree with that entirely. I think that Sam Darnold has played really, really well.
Yeah, I don't blame Sam for any of it.
Yeah, I think that the Vikings defense will come back from this, and I think that you have the best coaching staff in the league all round, in my opinion. The one team that I thought I might put above you in this was the Detroit Lions, because I think the way that the Lions are playing on the offensive side of the ball especially is ridiculous, but it's difficult to look past their defensive line without Aiden Hutchinson and how much that is really affecting them as we go through. And I find it difficult to look past our biases, well, not biases, but just our dislike of Dan Campbell and his coaching style. So, the Washington Commanders, I think, have come a little bit down with their loss against the Ravens and the fact that their defensive side of the ball just isn't good enough, but they're so young and talented on the offensive side of the ball. Then give me the Washington Commanders there. The Texans have had a really slow start in the way that they're playing, but they're still winning games as they go through. And I think they just shit the bed against the Packers, to be honest. The Bills, I think that Josh Allen's playing some of the best football of his career. I think Amari Cooper really adds to them and really upgrades them at the wide receiver position. The Green Bay Packers have come out and looked really, really good recently. Well, not really, really good recently. The Green Bay Packers have looked decent recently. And I think Jordan Love is starting to find his consistency a little bit, but I'm not totally comfortable with the Green Bay Packers in at 8, but when I looked at the teams behind them, I thought, okay, they're probably about there. The Steelers, as we've already spoken about, I think they're becoming contenders if Russell Wilson can still play like he was before, like he did in the last game. And there's no reason why Russell Wilson can't keep on doing that. And the way that their defense plays. And then I think the LA Rams, with all of their weapons back, they're 17-3 when they play with those weapons. And I think they're an excellent team, and I think they have excellent coaching staff as well. Also, it helps when you're helped by the referees entirely. So there you go. May as well put you in at 10 if you've got the refs on your side as well. Jay, any problems with that? Any teams that you think should be in there that are missing?
If I'm nitpicking, I would have flipped the Vikings and the Lions, but that's okay. And then for me, I would have moved the Steelers and Rams up, took the Packers completely off the board, and put the Bears in at number 10. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think with the Bears as well. I think I had the Bears at 12. I don't
think the Packers are a top 10 team, but that's just me. I think the Bears are better. Yeah. I think everybody in the NFC North is better.
Yeah, I had the Bears at 12. Just because I don't trust Chicago. I had the Bears at 11, and then I had the Falcons, Seahawks, weird mix of those teams, like all at 12, 13, like the Bucks are at 14 as well. I go all the way down to 20 when I do these lists as well. So yeah, that's my picks for this week in terms of our top 10. So I hope you enjoy that. I enjoy putting that segment together. Jay, it's almost time for kickoff. It's time to make sure that players that we think are starting for fantasy teams. So why don't you send us out in the best way possible?
All right, everybody, you already know. Hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.